Om Sri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble and loving pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Beloved Bhagwan, honorable guests, respected elders, brothers and sisters, Om Sai Ram. On behalf of all brothers and sisters who have come to the divine presence from various parts of the world, I offer our grateful prostrations to our loving Bhagwan for permitting us to celebrate the great and auspicious occasion of Buddha Purnima in Bhagwan's divine presence. Vaishaka Buddha Purnima, the thrice blessed day of the Buddhist calendar, depicting the birth, the enlightenment, and the parinirvana of Lord Buddha, is rendered 1,000,000 times blessed when the celebrations take place in the presence of the Kali Yuga avatar, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who is in essence none other than the Lord Buddha himself. Dear brothers and sisters, while I perform my pleasant duty of welcoming each and every one of you to the Buddha Purnima celebration, I also welcome you to the great experience of understanding better the Buddhist teachings as expounded by the Lord himself, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. My present task is to introduce two speakers to you today to speak on the theme of this year's Buddha Purnima, namely, Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. Non-violence is the greatest dharma. The first speaker is well known to all of you. He is none other than Brother Dr. Art Ong Jum Sai from Thailand. He was conferred the PhD on Curriculum Instruction, Faculty of Education from the Chulalongkorn University of Bangkok. He has achieved a great honors in the field of science, having been a participant in NASA's Viking spacecraft project in the exploration of Mars. All of you must know his contributions in the field of Sathya Sai education and his directorship of the Institute of SSEHV in Thailand. He is also the director of the Institute of Water Education in cooperation with UN Habitat. The second speaker is Brother Alan Yao from Hong Kong, China. He was called to the Bar of England by the Inner Temple, London, in June 1964. He has had extensive practice in Singapore, Malaysia and Hong Kong. He was an advocate in the High Court of Singapore for 2 years and an advocate to the Supreme Court of Brunei in the year 1969. He left for Hong Kong and practiced as an advocate in Hong Kong until 1985. Bhagwan, for the grace and love you have showered on us, we, the devotees from the Far East countries, have no words to express our gratitude. On behalf of all gathered here, may we request Bhagwan to bless this occasion of Buddha Purnima and the program prepared for the occasion. Jai Sai Ram.
Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Most loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan Baba, Venerable Bhikkhus, dear brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. It is indeed a great opportunity for all of us to be able to celebrate Buddha Purnima in the very presence of the avatar of the age. Today, Buddhists all over the world is also celebrating the Vesak to commemorate the birth, enlightenment, and parinirvana of the Lord Buddha. The central teaching of the Lord Buddha is the Four Noble Truths. That there is suffering in the world. The cause of suffering is desires. There is a way to stop suffering, and that is to get rid of desires. And the way to do this is the Noble Eightfold Path. Bhagavan has also given us a very simple way to get rid of suffering. He tells us that we all say, I want peace. The secret lies in what we have just said. I want peace. If we only want peace, since there are three words, we have to get rid of the words I and want. Then only the word peace will remain. I that we have to get rid of is the ego, the attachment to oneself. The want is the desire. In this modern world, our desires are increasing all the time, creating all kinds of problems and suffering in the world. The more we want, the more disappointment we will have. Less want, less disappointment. No want, no disappointment. So if we can get rid of our desires, we'll have complete peace. The Buddha taught us to have control of the five senses by giving us the 5 precepts or sila to live by. Swami tells us a story to illustrate this sense control. Allow me to retell this story. There was once a king. He had 5 wives. Each wife would come and demand many things from the king. One wife sees something beautiful, she will come and tell the king, I want it, I need it, you must give it to me. The king is afraid of his wives, so he has to comply. But he has no peace, because it's not just one wife, but there are 5 wives. So he went to consult the cabinet ministers, who are all male. The cabinet ministers said, sorry, sire, we cannot advise you because we are also afraid of our wives. So finally, they made a decision. They're going to invite all the male population to a big meeting. On that day, they'll put up a tent for those who are afraid of their wives and another tent for those who are not afraid of their wives. So when the day came, all the men population came, and the tent for those who are afraid of their wives are quickly filled up and overflowed. People have to sit outside the tent. Whereas the tent for those who are not afraid, nobody came. The king was very disappointed. Are there no men in this country that is not afraid of their wives? But finally, one man came to the tent of those who are not afraid. So the king was so happy, he rushed to that man and said, tell me your secret. How is it that you're not afraid of your wife? So the man replied, I'm also afraid of my wife. The king was very angry. Then why are you at this tent? You've got to go to the other tent. So the man said, I won't go. You can do whatever you like. You can punish me, but I will not go. So the king said, why? Why won't you go? The man said, because my wife told me to come to this tent. Well, we are the king. The 5 wives represent the 5 senses. So far, the senses have more power than us. They control us. They create all kinds of desires and problems for us. So what we need to do is to become king once again. We have to learn to control the 5 wives which represent the 5 senses. Once we can do this, then we can find peace. We can get rid of suffering. One of the main divine mission of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba is education. Swami has said that his message will spread all over the world through Satya Sai education. I just like to relate a little bit about the Satya Sai school in Thailand. We have set this up for over 17 years now. Most of the children are Buddhists. When they first joined the school, most of the children didn't know anything about Bhagavan. But when they graduated from the school in the 12th standard, they are all devotees of Bhagavan. When we first started the school, many people and the authorities looked at this school with suspicion, thinking that we are starting a new cult. But Swami reminded us, if you are a Buddhist, be the best Buddhist. So with this divine guidance, the school really started to change. And you know, now the school has been getting many awards. One of the awards is the most outstanding Buddhist school from the Department of Buddhism, Office of the Prime Minister. Many teachers at the school received awards for outstanding teachers of Buddhism, also from the Department of Buddhism, Office of the Prime Minister. We also got awards from the top Buddhist university for monks in Bangkok for outstanding school for the propagation of Buddhism. Satyasai education used in the school has been given the award of innovative teaching. So you see, by becoming the best Buddhist in accordance with the guideline of Bhagavan, we change the Satyasai school, and now it has been accepted by the authorities. But remember that we teach in accordance with the Satyasai education in human values. We use Satyasai Educare in all of our teaching. We use the guidance and whatever Swami has been telling us, but yet we were able to achieve a lot of success in Thailand. Bhagavan, on this auspicious day of Buddha Purnima, we all pray to Bhagavan to give us a divine message. So, happy Vesak to all of you. May all beings be filled with joy, happiness, and peace. Om Sri Sai Ram.
With reverence and love, I offer my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our Lord. Dear brothers, dear sisters, Sai Ram. I'm very grateful to Bhagwan Baba for the great privilege of addressing you in His divine presence on this most auspicious occasion. Lord Buddha was one of the greatest teachers of non-violence and was known for his compassion and loving kindness. Even as a child, Prince Siddhartha showed great sensitivity to suffering and pain. One day, his cousin Devadatta shot down a bird with an arrow. Siddhartha, then 9 years old, tenderly removed the arrow and brought it home to take care of it. His cousin was furious, insisting that the bird was his, and took the case to the palace to claim it. Devadatta said, I shot the bird, it's mine. Prince Siddhartha's response was, to whom should any creature belong? To him who tries to kill it, or to him who saves its life? The ministers discussed the matter at length, and the majority of them appeared to be leaning towards Devadatta when Siddhartha's father, the king, cleared his throat and coughed a few times. All the ministers stopped speaking and unanimously expressed their agreement with Siddhartha's argument and awarded the bird to him. Siddhartha nursed the bird back to health and set it free. Now this may seem a small incident, but years later,
Lord Buddha brought it up when he was talking to his young disciples, Sujata and Swasti. Sujata was a young girl who brought food to Lord Buddha after she found him in an extremely weakened condition from his years of practice of austerities and self-mortification. Swasti was a boy who tended to buffaloes and brought grass to Lord Buddha for use as a cushion when he meditated. Lord Buddha told him, I had the bird, but I wasn't really happy. Even though I was still young, I knew that my victory was less than honorable. I was given the bird because the ministers wanted to please my father, not because they saw the truth of what I said. Lord Buddha then said, in this world, few people look with the eyes of compassion, and so we are cruel and merciless towards each other. The weak are always oppressed by the strong. I still see my reasoning that day was correct, for it arose from love and understanding. Love and understanding can ease the suffering of all beings. The truth is a truth, whether or not it is accepted by the majority. Therefore, I tell you, children, it takes great courage to stand up for and protect what is right. Even as a child, Lord Buddha acted from love, which moved him to compassion for the pain and suffering of the bird. He was motivated by Dharma and took a stand against his cousin's claim to the bird, which many at the time had considered valid, on the basis that it belonged to him who shot it. This was not acceptable to Lord Buddha, for whom the Dharma of a human being is not to harm, but to help. In Bhagwan Baba's words, help ever, hurt never. The compassionate Buddha regarded non-violence as central to his teachings. He explained that all beings tremble before violence, all beings fear death, all beings love life just as we do. Putting ourselves in the place of the other, we should therefore not kill or cause to kill. If hoping to be happy, we hurt others, we can never find happiness. If we harm the harmless or hurt the innocent, we will surely come to grief. Lord Buddha urged us to always live in joy, never hating those who hate us, and to live in freedom without hatred even among those who hate. To Lord Buddha, the world is full of hatred and violence because people do not take the time to nourish the love and compassion that are already in their hearts. He proclaimed, Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. The highest Dharma is to do no harm to any living creature. Non-violence, as you know, is one of the fundamental human values that Bhagwan Baba teaches us. Swami explains that the Sanskrit word ahimsa for non-violence is not restricted to just physical non-violence. Non-violence means not hurting anyone by thought, word, or deed. It is comprehensive in application and embraces every facet of our life. Swami says that there is violence when we feel resentment or nurture hostility or jealousy towards anyone, even if unexpressed in words or action. There is violence when we look for faults and flaws in others and in speaking badly of them. There is violence in the harshness of language, which includes the manner in which we speak, as well as the tone or volume of our voice. That is why Swami has reminded us time and time again to think carefully before we speak and to speak sweetly, softly, and with restraint so as to avoid hurting others by our words. There is violence also in rude behavior through gestures, looks, or body language that express contempt, displeasure, or impatience. Swami reminds us that there is a broader meaning to non-violence. It also implies refraining from causing harm to oneself. We do harm to ourselves by living unwisely, such as by an unhealthy diet, overindulgence in food, thinking immoral or wrongful thoughts, engaging in undesirable activities, listening to malicious gossip, and so forth. We have to be constantly mindful of our thoughts and behavior to ensure that we do not cause harm to ourselves or to others. Swami tells us that the heart is a seat of non-violence, as it is with the other human values. These values are all interrelated and are inherent in us. A person of love will never entertain any thought of violence. Swami says that where there is love, there is peace. And where there is peace, there is non-violence. When love comes together with understanding, it becomes non-violence. To the Buddha also, to practice non-violence is to love. He said that if we nursed grievances and thoughts of retaliation, we could never be freed from hatred. In his words, hatred can never put an end to hatred. Love alone can. This is the eternal law. He declared, and I quote, "Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will." End of quotes. Bhagwan Baba's teachings are timeless and of universal application and strengthen our understanding and practice of Lord Buddha's teachings. Ultimately, the question is whether we put into practice the teachings we have learned. As the Buddha said, those who recite many scriptures but fail to practice their teachings are like the cowherd who only counts the cows of others. If you live according to the teachings of Bhagwan Baba, if you put his teachings and practice in your life, you will certainly be living the life Lord Buddha would expect his disciples to live. Dear brothers and sisters, as I'm about to conclude, and I say this with humility, it is beyond our imagination. It is beyond comprehension how very blessed we are, not only because we are in his divine presence, but also because we have the very rare privilege of learning directly from the greatest avatar of all time. How great is the love Bhagwan Baba showers upon us by his infinite patience, time and attention he gives to teaching us these eternal values when he has also to deal with the endless problems of the universe. We can show our love, appreciation and gratitude by living and practicing the values he taught us to bring about a transformation in our lives. It is by example, the living example of our own lives, that Bhagwan's message of love is powerfully and unforgettably communicated, and his greatness and glory shine forth upon the whole world. In concluding, I thank our beloved Bhagwan Baba for his loving indulgence. Jai Sai Ram.